Welcome to the Austin Behind the Creative Scenes podcast, where we explore how creative individuals already in the industry made it, are making it, or even got out of it. Their everyday actions could be the things you are struggling with as a performing artist. I'm Austin, your host, and together we'll embark on a journey to discover a little bit more about the real life behind the creative scenes. Join us as we delve into inspiring stories, expert insights, and practical tips from people who have been there, done that, and learned from it. Whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just starting your journey, this podcast is for you. So let's dive in and explore the world of the entertainment industry, one series at a time. This podcast is sponsored by the award-winning Mortgages for Actors, the financial services for you and your family. Visit the website to find out more. Hello, Jo. How are you doing?
Hello there. How are you?
Really good, thank you.
All is good here.
Brilliant.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me.
That's really lovely to have you. I've been speaking to you for years. It's so nice to see you on this instead. So, Jo, I know you very well, but tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Oh, okay then. My name is Jo McShane, and I am now, I guess, a choreographer and a teacher. I used to perform a lot in musical theatre. Throughout my years, I've been in the West End and done various tours and travelling abroad. And I've always kind of taught alongside my teaching, alongside my performing. And now I'm doing a lot more kind of choreography, and I teach at all of the drama schools in London, nearly all. So
Well,
that's how I am.
Brilliant. Well, if it's anything like, I don't know, if it's like another feather in your cap, I speak to a lot of people that do dance, a lot of people that are in the theatre, and so many of them know you. And I notice, even when I add them on Instagram, I notice they're talking to you on Instagram. I think, oh, that person knows you as well.
It's kind of hilarious. I've been teaching. I was just really brave when I graduated, and I just put myself up for teaching in all the drama schools. So I was teaching at the age of like 20, which is really young when you think about it. Excuse me. And yeah, I've just managed to go to so many of them, and I've had, had students really, probably since, my goodness, how old was I? Probably about 2003, 2004. So some of the places I'm still teaching at, which is kind of madness.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. I love seeing now. I love seeing it more than actually doing it myself. Seeing my grads actually get these jobs, which I know are it's just so hard. It's so hard to get one. We've just had some lovely success this morning with 3 of my students from 3 different schools actually, from Laine Theatre Arts, Guildford School of Acting, and Emile Dale, and they've all just got Grease the Musical on tour.
Oh, well done then.
For 2 of them, definitely, it's been a slog. It's been a good slog of them being out of work for 2 years.
Yeah.
To kind of now just got this news, and I turned my phone on, and I actually screamed that one of my lovely students had got the job, because I thought, at last,
Brilliant.
something's landed. You know, people get into finals for things, and then something doesn't come off. So it was just lovely to see someone who's like been really, really dedicated with their training, and just decent people actually getting to do what they want to do. So,
and the level of the people that come out of your classes and end up in really high caliber productions just goes to show the quality of what you do for them. And
well, that's fine. They can all pay me 10% if they want. That's what should be doing. But again, it's the hardest industry, and while it's so gorgeous to celebrate those people, I could count over and over the amount of people who are just so talented and just still not quite getting the breaks that they deserve, whether it's because they're not getting into the audition room, or their agent isn't pushing for them. There's just so many reasons that sometimes are totally out of your control. So it is just trying to persevere. I try and say to people, please just try and persevere, and something will come along if you keep pushing. And of course, some people who want to be really need to be financially stable, to kind of deal with everyday life, they find it very hard. So that's when some people end up just kind of dropping out, understandably so, because they want to know where their rent money's coming from and their food money's coming from. So it's finding that really hard to find that balance to keep the motivation to keep going, but also finding work that is kind of flexible enough to then be able to say, can someone swap a shift with me in 2 days time or 1 day's time? I've got to
Yeah.
go off, that's half the battle, is
Yeah.
trying to find that work-life balance where you're not feeling under stress all the time, when sometimes a casting director might say, we need you in tomorrow for the final. And
Yeah.
then you're like, I've got a full day and it's
What am I
5
doing?
o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And if I keep upsetting the people, keep upsetting the people I'm working for, then they're going to get rid of me. So it can be a really, really tough battle. I think most of the time you do know with a bit of notice when you are going to go back in. But I've dug myself out of many holes and told a few white lies. You have to kind of to get through, but it can be very stressful for some people, and for some people they just rather not have that
Yeah.
kind of stress and will turn the audition down, which of course then upsets the agents. So yeah, it's a really hard industry to kind of balance your work
Definitely.
lifestyle. Yeah.
Especially those first couple of rungs where you've got a job that's flexible, but it's not quite paying you enough, or the jobs that you're auditioning for are not quite paying enough to be a full-time job, that will pay the rent. So there is that real steady balance at the beginning. I mean, very rarely do people come out of graduating and straight into, right into London in the theatres. It's very much a climbing frame, isn't it?
Well, this is the problem, and I think the issue with it, and it's probably why I've stepped back away from performing. There's a few reasons actually, but you just look at some of the wages that people are getting, and it's outrageous. The difference in the gap between someone who's playing ensemble but also has some understudy roles that they have to do, to someone who is then playing the lead when they're getting someone who's a bit of a name. The
Yeah.
difference in the pay, you hear sometimes they get told what they get, what they're these people with a bit of a name are getting
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah.
And I've been told on a few occasions, and it's just the difference, the gap is huge. And if I look, actually, when I'm
Yeah.
going through my stuff, because I'm doing my tax late, of course, at
Oh,
the moment, and I actually had to clear out, and I'm finding pay slips from 2014,
oh wow.
2008,
Yeah.
and some of the jobs I was on a lot more money then than what I was in when I was finishing. I kind of finished up performing around about in a big contract. I'm still doing a bit of performing, but in a big, like, long running West End show was around about 2017.
Hmm.
And the difference, there's a few jobs I was paid more,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
craziness to think that in 2007 I was getting more than what I was getting in 2017.
Yeah, and that is crazy. It's crazy to think that that's acceptable, if you like.
Yeah. And I understand with what happened with COVID, and producers being scared and all of that things aren't going to last. And
Mm.
but I've been to the theatre quite recently, quite a few times, and the prices of those tickets, obviously we're going on like a cast rate ticket, or one your mate can get you, or today
Yeah.
ticks, which I love, which you can get your £25 ticket, which is
Mm.
how I went to see one of my students in Stranger Things
Oh yeah.
the other day, which is fantastic. But those seats I was in were like 125, £150.
Yeah.
But that's not reflective of what the wage is on the stage.
No.
So it's tough. And I think more and more it's becoming either a young person's game or a rich person's game,
Yeah.
or people who still want to fight for um that time to shine and do what they've always wanted to do. But you know who are the people I see that it must be hard when people are struggling with money and they see people whose families are financially rich, and that means that they can just go to the gym, not have a part-time job,
Yeah.
and swan around London, waiting for the next audition. When I've got a friend, actually, she's just been in a show that I put on, and she's working like 5 jobs,
Oh
and
really?
getting up at 6 a.m. Being there at 6 a.m. to do a gym shift, working a bar shift.
Yeah.
So it's very different depending on what your financial situation is, I think. And then
Yeah.
even when I was leaving the West End, I knew the job was coming to an end, so
Mhm.
I was picking up all my teaching again. So some days I was teaching 3 days, like 9 till 1, and then go into the theatre.
Yeah.
But that is more and more common now, that it's just like an evening job
Yeah.
that you go to,
Yeah.
because people need to then do something else in the daytime to kind of top up that wage.
I think as well that I think COVID was obviously horrible at the time. I think it was just disgusting the way everything happened. But I think after COVID, when the productions started to come back, there was almost a flurry of all these people that hadn't worked for so long, were so desperate to get a job. They basically could write whatever they wanted. They could pay anyone anything they wanted. And it's almost a bit of a ripple from that they still are not paying what they should be paying
Yeah,
because
and
they
people
feel like
will
they don't
just
have to.
accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely saw that, because I'm trying to do a bit more choreography, which has just gone well. I've just done a nice show at the moment at Wilton's Musical.
Okay.
But just looking back to there, and just looking at, if there was a job opportunity, people would take that job opportunity who wouldn't necessarily normally have gone for that.
Yeah.
So everyone kind of got pushed down the pecking order. So
Yeah.
people who were always striving to choreograph big shows were taking on smaller roles in things, and then that kind of just shunted everyone kind of down, because everyone was, petrified that they weren't going to get a job again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So sort of jump on whatever you can, really.
like, I was
Yeah.
lucky. I was lucky in COVID.
Yeah, because you went online. You switched
I
to
went
online.
online, and I went full out online,
Mhm.
and I look back now and I think, well, how did I do it, and why did I put my parents through that? Because I'm in a little studio here in London, which I rent, but I moved back home with mum and dad, because they've only got like a small semi-detached house, but they'd had a new bright white kitchen put in, so for lighting.
Lovely.
And we didn't have that much space, but it was much better than what we've got here. Here, the sun's not great. The lighting's
Yeah.
not great here. And I did full timetable. I did more or less full timetable, Monday to. I probably did 5 days a week, full days online. So I would have different rules with my mum and dad, depending on what drama school I was at,
Yeah.
because some of them would fit, some of them would keep on record, or there would be a manager present, so
Mhm.
I'd be in my best outfit and ready to go. And then some schools, it could be a little bit more laid back, and just kind of, my mum would say, oh, you're not at your strict school today, you're at the more laid back school today. So, but just going through that and just thinking about how, again, with privilege, some people whose family are financially sorted,
Yeah.
I would be doing classes and people would be dancing in front of a swimming pool, or dancing in like a converted barn.
That
And then there would be
says a
some
lot, doesn't it?
people who would be in a little room upstairs, because their parents don't let them dance in the house, and they would be dancing with this much space.
Yeah.
And just thinking, wow, how did we navigate through that? And for anyone who survived that, congratulations. I'm still very, very close to all my online students
Good.
who went through that, because that was another world, another time, another place.
Yeah.
Very,
Well, I mean, for myself, COVID is still showing on people's books that I have to look up for their accounts and
of
that.
course.
And although it's now in the background and it's kind of swept over now, there's still always that worry, isn't there? There's always that thought of, but what if it happens again, or something else happens like that again? And it almost makes you think, although you've got the experience now, you know what you would do, you know how you would jump onto the next thing and
Yeah, but I just don't know
move
if
along.
people would actually do it. I don't know if the second time round people would do it. Well, I guess there'd be a new intake. Well, it'd be a new cohort of students, wouldn't it? So maybe
Yeah,
they would do, because they hadn't been through it the first time. There's
that's
so
right.
many people that say, I will never do it again. I actually do teach once a week still on Zoom. I teach
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
these brilliant Austrian kids that found me on Instagram, my Patrizia and Benjamin, who I'm very, very close to
Oh,
now. So I've been teaching them probably for 4 years, and I
They're in
taught
Austria.
them basic tap. Yes, they're now actually living in Cyprus,
Oh,
but they were
right.
living in Austria, and they could just do some like basic tap dance. And I've trained them for 4 years, and they won world championships and world
Wow.
competitions, and yeah. So it's kind of mad to think that we went from scratch
Yeah.
to that. But
Joe
that's
McShane
dedication.
worldwide.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then what they did have is, because lots of people just watching little screens on their laptops, they had like a big floor to ceiling
Oh,
screen
really?
of me, which I guess is a bit better. It feels a bit more lifelike
Yeah, I
than
guess so.
actually just working on a tiny screen. So, and yeah, I'm going to see them in a few weeks. Got another competition happening, and they came to London to train. So some lovely friendships happened out of that
Definitely. Yeah.
turbulent time, and it wasn't for everyone, and I didn't judge anyone who said to me, Joe, I just can't come online. Or
No,
with family situations, some dads wouldn't let their sons dance in the house, you know
sad,
so
isn't it,
it's
really? Very sad.
which is
But,
kind of madness, but yeah,
yeah.
that was a time.
Well, there was, yeah. I mean, well, what about now? So you do a lot of tap, and
Yeah, a lot of tap dance, a lot of jazz, a lot of yeah, lots of, I mean, just hours and hours of dance. I'm doing many schools at the moment. I'm at Trinity Laban, I'm at Guildford School of Acting, then I go to a meal Dale on a Wednesday. Thursday morning, Royal Academy of Music. Thursday afternoon, Trinity. Friday, Trinity. Saturday, I'm in Brighton, a place called Theatre Workshop. And then on Sunday, on Sunday, my boyfriend runs his own youth theatre called the Union Youth Theatre, and he's just got a job on tour, so I'm having to go. I do absolutely love it as well, but I'm having to go and sort them out as well, because he's off on the Les Mis concert tour, which he's going to be back and forward for. So
yeah.
that's why I don't have a day off. But I'm already looking at my diary, thinking I don't know if I can.
Well,
I
you do
can do
need to
so.
be able to use your house occasionally.
That's it. I know. I know. So,
Cleaning, I suppose.
it's good. I'm very lucky, because I do have a lot of work.
Mm,
But I'm in my 40s now, so dancing all day, every day is not the easiest. So do have to pace myself, because anyone who knows me as a teacher will know I'm full on and
bang on it.
full out and full of energy, but I'm having to kind of just be a bit more careful. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I get here at 7 p.m. and I'm asleep, achieving nothing. Achieving
Oh,
nothing. The tax
well,
will wait for another day.
40 is not an age. I'm also in my 40s, so please let's call that young.
But yeah, 40 is the new 30.
I hope so. So, what is your favourite style of dancing? What is your true passion?
I think, I don't know. I would say jazz, but I think actually the tap dance has done me well. I've because there's a shortage in London, really, I think, of good tap teachers. Not because there isn't any, because there is some amazing tappers, but often I think those tappers are still kind of wanting to tread the boards and not teach and perform and stuff. So tappers being what's kind of like
Mm,
really seen me through. I've also part of a tap trio called the Tap Chaps, and we often go and do short gigs on a cruise ship, or we've got a gig in central London next week at some point.
yeah.
So that's three of us, me and my two friends. So that's the fun stuff as well, because you are somewhere different for a few weeks or a few days, and then you're flown home, which is great. We've just been to Japan, Tahiti, around the Caribbean.
Wow.
I went to New Orleans. I've been to not Alaska, Antarctica. So
It's impressive.
it's been good. I
Yeah.
went to Peru. That was recent as well. Japan. So when the good ones come up, I say, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
I'm on
free.
it.
I'll do that one." And then when you're on there, you're treated as guests. So you do a little bit of work. I do a couple of tap classes for the old dears, which is always lovely. And then we drink half price wine and eat lovely food.
Yeah, living the dream.
Yeah, so I'd say tap for what it's gave me,
Yeah.
really.
Oh, that's really good. So, I mean, I mean, obviously I don't do tap, but is there like a decade? Is there like different styles through the decades, like
Yeah, I
from
guess
the
so. I
20s
think
all the
it's
way on and that?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at anything on YouTube from, the 30s, looking at Fred Astaire, kind of Gene Kelly, with all of those old kind of musical um shows which just had so much like love in them, which is, your top hat, your singing in the rain,
Yeah.
and just ridiculous talent. And what they're doing with their feet is actually ridiculous for the era. So that's when it all obviously we've talked about the history of tap dance another time, but just going back from starting in the slave trade in America to how it's kind of changed through the eras. And then what I'm trying to do at the moment is trying to kind of keep it alive.
Mm.
Um, and you can see modern kind of tap dance all over the world. It's just kind of tapping in and finding it. And there is hundreds of us in each country, I think, that are kind of passionate about keeping it alive. And
Yeah.
of course, it features so much in all styles of musical theatre, right from the 20s all the way up. And that's what I always try and tell my students. You just never know when you're going to need it. People have tapped in the most random of shows.
Yeah.
And if you look on the West End now, there'll be a show that you would not necessarily think would have any tap dance in it, and there's actually like a minute tap dance.
Mm.
So that's why it's still taught in most of the drama schools. Some schools do focus more on it than others, but again, just there's lots of dancers out there who might not consider themselves the strongest jazz dancer or ballet dancer, but what tap will do is help with your timing, help with your rhythm, um, just with your musicality.
Yeah.
And often people who aren't brilliant dancers find the love in tap dance because it's a different skill. That's if they're really musical or they play an instrument, they find they kind of do well at that.
Yeah. It
So
helps them with the rhythm. Mm.
yeah, absolutely.
That's brilliant. So what about so you obviously do a lot of choreography and you've got awards for choreography or nominated for awards for choreography and so, how do you attack choreography? How when someone just says do choreography, what do you do?
Yeah, it's a funny one. I've just choreographed a brilliant show called Frank's Closet, which is as camp as it sounds. And it's very, very wacky, and it goes kind of through all the eras. So we have the same person plays each diva, and each diva keeps coming through the closet, which is part of Frank's music collection
Mm-hmm.
that helped him deal with being gay. So you've got Judy Garland, Julie Andrews, who else we've got? Agneta from ABBA, Dusty Springfield. So all of these different styles and eras, which of course need different types of choreography. So it's I kind of is there an actual way? I think it really depends on each piece of music. The more you listen to it, the more I will try and find something in that. Sometimes it's really easy and the information just comes out to me and I
Yeah.
can stand in my mirror and go, okay, that sounds like this and this. Sometimes it can take me an hour to choreograph something, and sometimes 2 minutes can take me 20 hours.
Yeah.
There's really no wrong or right with it. Suddenly I'll be asleep in the middle of the night and I think, I've got to get up. I know what I've got to do there. And it's a bit, I guess it's just like having writer's block or having a fresh day of you never quite know when you're going to be productive.
Mm.
Sometimes if I've got lots of time to choreograph, lots of free time, the information doesn't come. Like it doesn't come to me very quickly. And then sometimes if I'm working under pressure, then suddenly
Yeah.
it all starts coming. So it really depends what it is. Yeah, choreographers, we get the short end of the stick. The musical directors just come and read and teach what's on the page. Directors
Stuff.
as well, of course, they have to have a vision for something, but they can
Yeah.
often just pull the work out of the actors. But the choreographer, we get the hard deal. We have to have you can collaborate with the performers and create on the spot, but you have to have a lot of stuff all ready to go, or at
Yeah.
least 2 or 3 possible options. And
Hmm.
you never know if the director you're working with is going to say, I absolutely love it, stay along that track, or you're doing your best work and then they go, I don't like it, change it. So but then you've got to be quick at thinking on your feet. So
Yeah.
there's never ever I don't think, a perfect way to go about it. Some people are just very quick at choreography and can kind of bash it all out, whereas I spend hours writing things down, and then sometimes I don't even start at the beginning of the music. I'll
Yeah.
find, like, I know what the end is. We've just got to get to the end. So
I'll work it out.
yes.
Do you ever get to the well? Can you ever hide the fact when one of these directors says, "No, I don't like it"? Do you hide it, or do you have a little moment and
You
then
have
come
to
back?
have a moment, and then have to go and stand outside and think, how am I gonna deal with this? Most of the directors I've worked with, though, have been very supportive. And if
Good.
they don't like something, sometimes they just have to wait. I can't change this right now. I'm gonna need to. My brain's too full. I need to step away from it, and then actually come back and have a go again. And I just think, having that open, being able to have that open dialogue and say, actually, no, I'm not going to work under this pressure for this moment. Let
Mm.
me come back after lunch, or let me come back tomorrow, and I'll have a new thought on it. And I think when I was younger, I used to panic and think, no, I've got to change it. Got to do perfect work now. But at the end of the day, we're all human. You can't do your best every single moment of every single day. So I think just I've learned to be brave and just say no.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea.
No, we have to just wait. You have to wait for me to find something else,
Mm.
or give me some help with what your vision is, and then let's create it. But that took a long time to go. Actually, what am I doing? Just don't crumble under the pressure. So
Yeah, and I think that goes back again to the almost desperation for getting a contract, doesn't it?
that's it. It
Very
comes from,
linked.
yeah, it absolutely comes from that kind of not wanting to put a foot wrong in
Yeah.
drama school. And also, especially when I went to a very, very dance based place. It's very much like you don't speak much. You just put your corrections in, and you just keep trying to do your best.
Mm.
And I think it comes from that. It comes from not wanting to be wrong. So I've had to learn that the hard way sometimes. Actually, it doesn't matter if you don't know the answers,
No, it doesn't. It
because
doesn't.
it's only theatre, and we'll find the answers. We will
Honesty is the
find the
best policy,
answers.
isn't it?
Say again.
Honesty is everything, isn't it?
That's it. It took me
Yeah.
a long time to go, just say you don't know the answer yet.
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Exactly. And I mean, in my side of the work, I would rather say, "I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that at the moment, but I will find out," rather
Yes.
than make up some rubbish that no one
Yeah,
believes. You know?
I know. But too many times I think, why does it do that? Why does it say that?
Yeah.
You never know when those new ideas are going to come to you. So
No.
even with this show, as we were going on in the rehearsal process, there was a big bit at the end of the first half that I thought, I don't know what this is. I still don't know. And we've moved on to the second half.
Yeah.
I still didn't know.
Not there yet.
No. But then I found it. It was like, I know what's happening today now, rather than rush through something just to finish it.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
find your students pick it up really quick, or your actors, I should say?
But what's interesting is my pickup skill, my own pickup skill as a dancer, is not very good. And I think years ago we just hid it. So if there's definitely dyslexia and dyspraxia in my family, because my brother has got those traits. I've never been diagnosed with anything or had anything checked, but I definitely think there is something there which has stopped me from being able to pick up choreography as quick as other people.
Hmm.
I used to look around my dance class and think, how has everyone got this?
Yeah.
And it just takes me a little bit longer. Whereas now, what is great is I've just gone back to drama schools now because everyone's just starting back. And the first thing I say to a new class is, please know it's okay to put your hand up and say, I can't get that. You might have ADHD, autism, dyspraxia, dyslexia, just let me know. Just don't struggle on your own. Because
Yeah.
that was something that I just never dared put my hand up and say. I would say, can you help me? But I would never say, I
I don't
can't
get
do
it.
it. It
Yeah.
was never like I can't. So I'd just be sweating and stressing out. But then what it did give me was a drive because I wouldn't pick it up as well as other people. So I would then have to go and spend hours practicing and making sure it was perfect for when I came back the next lesson.
Mm.
And you know, a lot of the things now we film. We film at the end of classes so people have something, a record to take away. But there was no filming back in those days,
No.
you know, on these little phones we had. So you just have to remember it up here. Which I
Yeah,
think
I
back and
remember all
think,
those.
goodness, the students of today would never be able to remember the amount that we used to remember. So I think it's quite varied from
Yeah.
person to person of how much they, you know, can kind of retain. And it's just trying to reassure the kind of people who would call themselves non-dancers or they call themselves movers, that just do as much as you can do with as much performance as you can in an audition situation.
Yeah.
As long as the people can see you trying hard, they might go, oh, they've got enough to call them back to a recall. And if they are then successful, you know, by going back to the recall, then they can put their practice in and show how much they've improved.
Yeah.
And people are just a bit more aware now that people learn in different ways. There's still I hear the odd horror story of people go into an audition where they just teach the material so fast. What was brilliant actually in COVID
Mm.
is you got a video of
Of course.
the
Yeah.
audition
Yeah.
because they didn't want anybody in the room for too long together.
Mm.
So you would just get a video of it and you would just learn it before you went in and then
Yeah.
be able to do your best job of it. That's always still up for discussion. I think there was an audition, someone was sent a video the other day, and I just think it's absolutely what should be done. Because when you take your sheet music in for a singing audition,
Mm.
you know that music already.
Yeah. Definitely.
So it feels like, why should people have to be tested on how they are picking up something under pressure
Yeah.
and under stress,
At the
you
end
know,
of the
with
day,
high adrenaline?
if you're a dancer, you're a dancer. It doesn't matter if like it takes you 5 minutes longer than everyone else.
Yeah,
You're
that's
still a
it.
dancer.
And there's still a little bit of that in the industry. Oh, you know, well, you need to be able to pick up fast. And it's like, well, yeah, but you have 6 weeks to do that. And
Mm.
if people, you can tell if someone's hardworking. So I will never not take someone because I can tell that their detail isn't quite right in an audition. If
Yeah.
they're performing with drive and executing most of it really well, then of course, you know, why not use those people?
Mm. Definitely. And I
It's
suppose.
a big chat that it's still an ongoing chat that needs to be had in the industry, I feel.
Mm. And I suppose as well, when you're teaching people, you can see the people that really feel the music, feel the rhythm, and that, to the people that are just doing it because they think they want to be that, or
That's it.
are
And those
pushed into it.
people who can pick it up really well might not have much performance about them.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that still needs discussing. I think a video should be sent with every single dance audition.
Yeah.
Simple as. That's it. Like you would get sent the music for the role you're singing, get sent the dance that they want you to perform as well. Because all that happens is you've got these brilliant actor singers who smash the singing, smash the acting, and then are terrified in the dance call
Mm.
because they're stood next to someone who's got more experience. But if they
Mm.
had the video for 4 days before, at least they'll be going in thinking, I'm going to do the best job. I'm going to do
I
the
know
best I
roughly what
can
I'm going
because
to do. Yeah.
I've had time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an ongoing discussion, and it takes no time. I make videos all the time for my students. It would take someone probably 10 minutes to
Yeah.
film it and speak it through. 10 minutes maximum. And I just think it would just help a lot of people in the industry because so many people say, "Oh, I messed up the dance.
Mm.
Did really well my singing, messed up the dance. They taught it too fast." And yes,
Well, I'm always up for a revolution, so let's beat the
yeah,
change
maybe
we want.
people are like, "You need to start the revolution, Joe." I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, need to find someone else to help me with this.
If I could dance, I'd be there, but I would be a detriment to you. You're dragging me through it all. So you also have done some stuff with Laine Theatre, haven't you? Laine Theatre Arts.
Yes, Laine Theatre Arts is where I trained, which I love. And yeah, I was teaching for them online during COVID. And then when we went back, I had like 7 students in my class.
Wow.
For a whole year. So I got really close to those students.
Yeah.
And they hadn't even met half of their year because they were just in these tiny little bubble groups.
Yeah.
And that's somewhere over there I absolutely love it there. I went there at 16, which is crazy.
Wow.
I left Liverpool at 16 and was like, yeah, I'll be fine. 3 years there, and yeah, it's a bit surreal going back to teach there.
Yeah, but
which I do love when I go back there. But it is feels a little bit surreal. Like I go in my old changing room and just think like over 20 years has passed since I was here getting changed, and
is it still the same?
It's still the same. I mean, it's beautifully clean. It's a fantastic studios, but it's still got a bit of a smell of. I don't think anyone ever forgets that smell of Laine Theatre Arts. So yeah, I would sometimes feel nostalgic in the lunchtime and call my mates who I used to go there with and say, "Look where I am. I'm in a changing room." But it's lovely to go back to that school because it's got such an amazing kind of work ethic. For me, it's got the best out of all the drama schools. You know, if you're not in 8:30, the door's locked and you're not coming in.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Or if you're one of our boys, they were throwing themselves through the ballet room window at 8:45 to try and make sure that they weren't barred for the day. But yeah, it's got really, really good work ethic there.
I follow you on Instagram, and I think the last time I saw you were there, you were wearing a pretty floral suit.
Yes, the best suit I've ever found.
That was amazing.
And it was actually really, I got it tailored to fit me because I'm short. But yeah, it was from the United Colours of Benetton. I couldn't quite believe it.
Very posh.
Everyone's like, "What's that suit? Is it Prada? Is it this?" I'm like, "No, it's Benetton." So that was lovely. It was like, oh God, big reunion of 50 years. And yeah, just saw lots of old staff from when I was there, and just lovely to catch up. I had too much Prosecco and cried about 5 times, and then cried all the way home in the taxi with just happiness.
Yeah. Was that the Prosecco though?
Yeah, always. Always.
So talking of Instagram, how do you keep your name out there? What do you do? What is your
I hate it. I don't do enough because I can't stand it. And every now and again I'm like, oh, I need to do something. I know you need to be more productive. I need to be more productive. And just do more. I guess just to do more I get a little bit lazy, I think, because I've got lots of work already. I'm lined. I've got full work if I want it, right through till next July. So then I sometimes sit back and get a bit lazy on pushing my creative side because luckily I'm at the drama schools where they will let you take a little break if if it's not too big or within reason, or you can get a very, very good depth teacher to come and do a kind of stint for you.
Yeah.
Lots of these places are still wanting people who are in the industry to teach in the places. So they're kind of working with professionals who are still working in the industry. So I do get a bit lazy on my kind of self-promotion. And it's just can be a bit exhausting as well to keep doing it. So I don't do as much as I should do. Kind of enough to kind of keep a kind of nice following, and mainly to kind of keep in touch with everyone. So if I then do put a class on of my own, I can then reach out to my students who haven't had me for a while and say, "Come along, I'm going to do a 3-hour session," and they're always successful and fill up really quickly, which is lovely. And then when we spend the first 10 minutes going, "Oh my God, I haven't seen you for so long." So I think I'd love to still be pushing my choreography more. I have a website which is joemcshane.com, and it's got a lot of my kind of work on there, videos of my work. and kind of any good reviews that are on there and my CV. So it is all about what I try and tell the students to do. I'm not very good at doing myself, which is I really should be emailing out to theatres and directors and creative people all the time. But it's on the list of things to do, and then I don't quite do it. So it's hard because it's you have to try and make those connections, and then it's people taking a risk on you if they've not worked with you before. A
Yeah.
lot of the work I've had has been through recommendations. That's kind of how I've got a lot of my work, has been often through, if someone else has not been able to do it, well, how about use Joe? So, and then that creates another friendship, and then
Yeah.
work in relationship, and then work breeds, and spreads kind of from there.
Well, the prospecting side of any business is tough, isn't it? Because you've got to do the work, and you've got to be out there to say I can do the work. And
yeah,
I think a lot of people in this industry forget that just because you're busy, that doesn't mean in 6 weeks' time you're not. You're going to still be busy. And also,
yeah,
there is the other side of the argument that is you're so busy already. Do you want to burn yourself out by being also your social media manager and your advertising agent and all that? And
yeah.
you are your business. You've just got to do what you can do, haven't you?
Yeah, this is a tough question I also have with my agent, who's also my good friend of a long time.
Yeah.
And we've spoken often about it. Obviously now with my mortgage, and then I'm renting in London as well.
Mm.
Then if I want to pay my rent and I want to pay my mortgage and live a lovely lifestyle where I do like to eat out quite a few times a week, and I do like to, okay, we're going for a drink, right, we're going now. I'm very lucky that with all the work I have and with the lovely friendship groups I have, and I'm living in central London at the moment,
Yeah.
on a very good deal, as we know. But I can just pop out to Soho because I live here, have 2 drinks with my friends, and then not pay £8 or £10 home because I live here.
Because you're there. Yeah.
So to support that kind of lifestyle where I still want to see friends and enjoy the nice things, then I think that's why I've took on so much work to be able to do that. Whereas to keep yourself open for creative opportunities, you can't necessarily always be working and committed to doing something, because you have to have that space for creativity and
Mm.
those down days to say, oh, let's try and strike up a meeting here with so and so. And so it's something I need to get the balance right. My agent speaks to me all about it all the time. He says, if you ever want to go back into performing, you'd have to take some time off, because teaching this much, your voice is not as good.
Mm-hmm.
So I've taught too much in the past, and then I've kind of messed up a lot of finals for big jobs. And I think it kind of came to it around about 2017-18, where agent had that honest conversation with, you're going to have to decide a bit. Are you wanting to still perform, which means you're going to have to look after your voice more,
Mm-hmm.
and take time off, and then not be as financially stable, because you're going to try and survive in London on way less money, but your voice is going to be good?
Yeah.
Or are you happy to push your choreography and your teaching work? And then, I'm working a lot of hours, but
Yeah.
now I'm in a position where I'm not worried at all about work. So it was a honest conversation that we had, and I said, I think I'm going to try and do more of the creative side. I'm going to push my choreography and kind of push my teaching. And then I think my boyfriend thinks I'm crazy. He's like, your work-life balance is absolutely, totally wrong. Which we're discussing at the moment. But I also know I've got 2 years left on this mortgage deal, and which you amazingly got for me. Thank you very much. And I've made overpayments each year
Mm.
to try and get that down. For when I have to, in 2 years, or less than 2 years now, won't it? move again. So I've kind of gone, yes, but the mortgage deal's going to run out, and I want to keep because I just have the mortgage on my own without him, of course. And I want to kind of work as much as I can to do that and still be able to have the fun stuff, like going on holiday for a week or doing those luxuries, which, I know I'm very lucky to be having as well. Yeah. Where did we get to?
You're having a discussion about your work-life balance. I just want to
Yes,
caveat
which
that I
is
didn't
yes,
ask
which
you
is
to talk
totally
about your
it's totally
mortgage.
wrong at the moment. It's totally wrong. But it's not always like this throughout the year. So this term is mad. I'm actually not going to choreograph anything at Christmas either. I'm just going to do my teaching, which means I might be finished around about the 9th or 10th of December, which is amazing. My parents are getting older now, and I took them to Thailand the other year.
Uh-huh.
And then, did we go anywhere last year? No, we didn't. But they're like, I don't fancy getting on and off a boat to a different island. So they don't want an island hop like that. Because I work on a lot of cruise ships, I've said maybe we'll go on. Well, maybe we'll actually go on one, and just want to spend that extra family time with them. While we can. And then next year, when all the drama schools they do start splitting off into doing kind of projects. So I do lose hours here and there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, yes, I've got an extra afternoon or day off. So it's just crazy now. And then January, actually, it's not as mad. This is the kind of crazy term. So yeah, work-life balance. I'm working on it.
Yeah, you do need to have a rest as well. I mean, I know it's as well when you've been building for years, you've been building and building and building. You're finally at the level where you're happy, and you're like, bugger, I've lost a lot of my downtime as well because I've built so much. And you almost, it's tough, isn't it?
And it's really, I will, and I'll definitely in January, before January hits, I'll definitely go, what do I need to do? Because the summers are always hard. The summer's hard, even though I was employed as a choreographer for a month, or 3 weeks really. And then I did 3 weeks of ships as well. None of that money's come in yet. So, I looked in the overdraft the other day and I'm like, I'm £2,500 overdrawn. What the hell's going on here? But then that's because that money's not come in. So I've actually got to do some chasing up today.
That is the bane of self-employment, isn't it?
Well, this is it. And then some of the drama schools have actually finished. Some of them finished in June. So even though those two had nice 2 jobs to kind of tide me over, still suddenly I'm going into September. And there's like a few of the drama schools, they don't pay me till the end of October.
Oh, right.
So we start in September, and they don't pay me till the end of October. And of course, I've got to travel there. And and then some are great and they pay me when I need it, or at the end of the month at least. But it's a real balancing act. Till about November, it's always like, oh God, what's going on with these books? Where's the money coming from?
Again, that's another thing, isn't it? Not only have you got to be a social media manager, you've got to be your own accountant as well. And your own bookkeeping, right? Nobody knows just how much work you have to put into being a self-sufficient, creative person, dear.
Yeah.
There's so much. And I mean, this podcast is designed to help people understand what goes on in the world rather than just seeing someone on stage, they're doing amazingly, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So what would your advice be to someone who wants to start doing it and they don't know anything yet?
I would say the most important thing, even as you're training and when you're graduating, you need to find a job that is going to support you outside of the industry, or a special skill that you can teach where you're not. There's nothing wrong with bar work. I have done my fair share of bar work. Trust me. I used to assistant manage a bar, and I was absolutely terrible at it. But I've done all of that. When you come back from a long contract and think, I haven't even got any teaching work. Oh, great. I'm going to work in the bar across the road. Some funny experiences doing that. There's nothing wrong with that. But of course, that's late nights. Oh, the pros with that, you get fed really well.
True.
But then there's always alcohol. There's always drinks around as well. So that's also bad because you get into it. Oh, I'm having a lovely time with these new friends, and suddenly it's 1 a.m. in the morning again. You're like, oh no, need to stop doing that. So
Throw Anacon. Yeah.
I think anything, yeah, I think anything late night is always going to be really hard on your voice unless you can be really strict with yourself.
Mm.
You're shouting over music all the time, so then your voice isn't going to be in a good shape. But of course, there's hospitality is what people go to because there's lots of work there.
Yeah.
So I think finding something you can teach. My boyfriend tutors English when he's not performing, and that's really kind of kept him going along, being able to perform, and just keep going with the search to find well-paid jobs.
Mm.
That's the hard thing, and then finding something, even if it's not that well paid, that is flexible, like in these, these bougie kind of gyms where, you get all your workouts for free if you work there. You can swap your shifts. You're around like-minded people. So I think it is really trying. If you can train in something that there's going to be a need for, it
Mhm.
will always just keep you going. And that's what I did with teaching. I just was like, I'm going to teach. I'm going to be good at it. And I really didn't care back then. So it's just finding something that you can do alongside of your performing work that you're not constantly like thinking, I'm not going to be able to survive the week.
Yeah,
And just more and more than ever, because everything is just so much more expensive. Or
definitely.
try and find somewhere that you don't mind working that's going to feed you at least,
Yeah,
or finding like ways to even one day a week at a restaurant or something that you can then get fed. Yeah, that I think it's hard. And people say, oh, it's okay for you. And I'm like, yeah, it took me a long time to build up my kind of CV of teaching. And you've just got to put the hours in. Ask someone to shadow if you'd like to be a good dance teacher, or ask someone if they can come and shadow you. And then just keep pushing, keep knocking the doors down, keep sending your CV and saying, hey, just in case you still need anyone. And at some point there'll be an emergency where your CV or was the last email or something that you can go, right, let's grab that person in there free. And then you go in there, you do a good job, and then suddenly, oh, can you cover this person next week? Actually, we've got someone away for maternity leave. So that's how I would build up my kind of teaching, is just by constantly bugging people, in a polite way.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's the way you need to be able to survive. You need to be able to pay your mortgage. And I've got lots of friends who are up north, lots of students. They're like, no, I'm going to stay up north. You need to be, unless you're an actor and you're doing, I'm talking if you're, people who are wanting to do more kind of West End, more kind of musicals, you do kind of have to be in London,
mm,
I think. Because they'll say, no, I'm save money. And by the time you save money, the train fare to get down when you need it at 9 a.m.,
yeah,
it's just
yeah,
get down here, get a deposit for a flat, and just start putting in the grind. One of the boys I do the tap trio with, one of the younger boys who does it, he said for a year, I'm coming down, I'm coming down. I said, you've just got get down here. He said, I've just got to find that £1,000, £1,500 to set myself up. I said,
yeah,
just do it. The work will come. The people you meet, where are you working? Get me a shift in there. Yeah, for 2 months or so, I think it's quite hard. But that's my advice to all the Northerners. Just don't run home thinking home is going to be the best, because you won't come back down.
yeah.
People don't come back down. Well, they don't come back down enough to be surrounded by the people
I don't think
who are
really,
like-minded.
yeah, and I don't think people really understand how much train tickets are now either. I mean, this is last year before this whole craziness with the cost of living went up. I had to go to Manchester, and I live in Colchester, and so I had to go into London, then up to Manchester, and it cost me about 350 quid return. And I was just like, what?
Yeah. And if you don't know the loopholes with the ticket split, go on ticket split and get all
Yeah,
the single journeys,
little bits and bobs.
or not knowing when you're off big ticket, excuse me, or whatever. But also, sometimes you just have to be there at a certain time.
Yeah,
It is rough. It is rough because even now, I remember my train fare being like £35 return to Liverpool.
Yep.
Gone are those days.
Yep.
And
Totally
sometimes I
gone.
get that, but you have to buy two separate singles, travel at 9 p.m., hope my dad will come and pick me up at 1 a.m. just to get home for £25. So I am quite good because I plan ahead because I've given them thousands of pounds over the years. So if I do know I'm going home, I'm like, right, let's plan in advance. And they want people to stop driving, but then the ticket prices are just. Oh, even for me to go and teach, I'm having an ongoing discussion. If I want to go and teach in Guildford School of Acting
Yeah.
now, £32 return from central London for me
Per
to get to
day.
Guildford, which is 2 stops.
Yeah.
Whereas all the other drama schools, I can jump on the tube, I can get on a line bike, I can walk to.
Yeah.
So, and there's no help with that.
Well, it's
There's no
£1,000 a
help.
month when you think about it.
Yeah.
You're
So
working 5 days.
what's happened from there is I used to go to that school 3 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, I used to go there, and now I go there once a week. I go there because I absolutely still love the students and the work ethic and
Yeah.
everything that happens there is fantastic. But financially, there's no point. It's a waste of time me going there. So I've just dropped it down to 1 day a week.
It's a good idea.
Yeah,
Good idea.
I think
So,
let's try and make these things work.
yeah, definitely. So what's in the future for Joe? What's Joe doing in the
Oh,
future?
what is in the future for me? Well, I've got to start learning how to pace myself. Um, back to all my teaching, which is lovely. I love seeing new students and then those who are becoming in their final year and their third years. I've got lots of nervous new students at the moment, which is lovely. I'm doing this lovely production called Frank's Closet, which is really fun. We're doing it at two dates in the West End, which is great. So it's on 2 Sundays. It's on, I think it's on the 1st of November and the 17th of November at the Arts Theatre.
Okay.
So that's lovely. And they are hoping for a bigger life for the show at some point soon. I mean, if it was in the West End, that would be amazing. So to try and get that long running show would be obviously the goal.
Yeah.
Because then you're just getting a royalty from that all the time. Often, in most of the productions I do, they have like a 6-week life and then it's put away. But with this lovely show, they're actually really pushing to find different homes, different venues, maybe a tour. So I'm really hoping that happens. It's a lovely collection of people, some talented actors. So I guess I'll carry on with that. Yeah. What else is it? Yeah, I just got to keep going, and hopefully, I will land some more choreography jobs, which keep me creatively going alongside my teaching.
Yeah.
More holidays is what I want in life. I did Greece, I did Ibiza in the summer. So maybe away at Christmas and then just, finding those times to go, actually, let's stop working. Let's actually go away on holiday.
As a
Whilst
holiday.
also trying to save. Is having that balance of going, you can keep saving, but actually go on holiday as well.
Yeah.
Do those things if you're lucky enough to be in those positions.
Yeah.
Without just saying yes to work and then getting to the end of the year and going, well, I paid some of my mortgage off, but I'm absolutely exhausted
Yeah.
and not happy.
You
You're
know what?
talking to me when I'm very fresh. I'm very fresh. I've done 1 week back at drama school. Ask me again in November, the end of November. But yeah, just to travel a bit more, keep seeing my friends, keep being social, keep paying the mortgage off, and then hopefully one day maybe getting another property, which would be wonderful. And then maybe looking at using that to then have a kind of rental income. That's what I would love and
Yeah.
be very fortunate to do that. If that was ever the case, but that was kind of like why I'm still killing myself, because I think if I got another property, that would free me up a little bit more financially, maybe. I know nothing's certain, of course.
Definitely creates a bit of a passive income, which is nice.
Yes, and I think that's what years ago people said you've got to get property, you've got to do it.
Mm.
And I thought, oh, I'm never going to be in that position to do it. No, why have I got? And I look now and think, I wish I'd have done it 10 years ago.
Yeah,
I
but
wish I'd have really been.
you can't look back like that. You have to
No,
think
you
about,
can't. But
instead of what I could
my
have done.
advice would be to people who are going off and enjoying those jobs is just put a bit more away
Yeah.
if you can. If you can go without your coffees or your, I had 3 ramens the other day. I was like, that's not necessary. I had 3 ramens in a week. I was like, that's
I
not
thought you meant back to
necessary.
back.
Well, do you know what? I could do that, but I thought, why have I been for 3 ramens this week? There's no need for that. If you can find those pennies from anywhere and then just try. Just
Yeah.
try. I just wish I'd have done it a little bit earlier with what I kind of know now. But I've had a
Yeah.
wonderful time
Oh, that's good.
spending my money and having a good old time. But if you can put anything away, try and put it away.
Well, as a
And just
financial
make me
advisor, I have to say, put as much money back as you can. However, as a
I
human being, I have to say, travel the world because it's amazing. You won't regret it. However,
know.
you can't do
It's so
both.
hard.
So, yeah,
It's so hard to do that, especially when people aren't working round the clock like I am, or at decent paid jobs where I'm, doing all right, killing myself, but it's going all right. And then I think that would be the goal to then maybe one day maybe even move back to Liverpool. Who knows? My brother's like, "What, are you going to do that?"
yeah,
Because he's got some autism going on and the rest of it. And I think maybe one day I'll move back up there. I don't know what I'd do if I moved up there.
don't.
I absolutely love it, but all my life and my work has been kind of down here. So I think that would be the plan. That would make me financially a bit more secure to then be a bit freer.
Yeah, we could
So
open
that
up a studio and bring dance to the north, bring tap to the
yeah.
north.
But the problem is it's already heavily saturated, and people I know of my age are doing a fantastic job with it. So it would be a slog to try and create something up there as well.
Yeah,
I think just because it's absolutely thriving up there, which is wonderful. The arts is thriving in Liverpool,
it is.
so
But
that's the thing.
none of them are Joe McShane.
No,
So
that's it.
bring yourself there. But Joe, where can people find you? You've already said your website, but where's your favourite place to find new people?
To find new people.
Yeah, how can people come and find you?
Oh, that's a good point. Well, they can look on my Instagram and we can always do class together. So I'm at Joe Mac, JOMC, McShane. So Joe Mac, McShane, JOMCMCSHANE. That's my Instagram. Always drop me a message if you want some advice at all about work life balance. I'm very good at that. Or just work in general or teaching. Yeah, that would be good. I did have Facebook, but I've been hacked,
Oh no.
so it's gone.
Why do people do that? What do they find so interesting about your
I don't
Facebook?
know, but I don't
What?
also know what has something bad must have been posted from my account because
Yeah.
no one from Facebook will even reply. It's just
Oh.
gone. So also on that thought, if you've got any special memories from 2007 and onwards, because that's when I have Facebook from, I don't have one picture
Oh,
from.
that's sad.
Maybe it's on a hard drive somewhere. I don't know,
Send
but
Joe the pictures.
I don't have anything. I don't have. One day I had Facebook, and the next day it's like I've gone. It's totally
No,
gone. And all I did was get a message in the middle of the night saying, "Was this you trying to sign in?" And I kind of half looked at it and thought, "Oh, deal with that tomorrow." And by the time I dealt with it in the morning, it was I'm gone. I'm banned.
that's insane.
That's me gone. Yeah. So I only have the one form of social media at the moment. I should probably start up another Facebook page and say, "Has anyone got any of those photos of me from when I was 22 and looking fabulous?"
Please.
But yeah, just always drop me a message. And then we can maybe just do class together, or I can put some classes on. That's kind of me. Or you can visit my website and employ me as a choreographer. It'll be wonderful.
Well, fingers crossed someone hears that and either gets you the photos or hires you for the next job.
Yes, hopefully. But I should be promoting you. That's the whole point as
No,
well,
no, no, no.
surely.
You don't need to promote me. I'm
I
doing all
wouldn't
right.
have done I wouldn't have got my mortgage at all without you.
Oh,
Like how easy it was. Everything was so easy and smooth and Yeah, I just hear, I think I always never did it as well because I would hear these nightmare stories where people would be like, it was the most stressful time of my life. So I think that also put me off doing it.
Yeah.
And then when you got me my mortgage, there was no stress. And I know that's probably very different from case to case, but
We
it
try not
was,
to. That's the main thing. We
yes,
try to take that stress away because the creative industry is stressful, and we want to be the buffer in between it, so you don't have the stress, and you get the same as Joe Bloggs who works at Tesco's comes in and gets his mortgage. We want that
yeah.
for you as well, and it's so nice to hear that. So thank you very much.
Oh, no, I have to say, I was like, when are we going to talk about the work that Austin's done for me? Um,
No, that's not what this is
just
for. This is about you.
every phone call, I come away going, yeah, great. That's great. And I was like, is it not very stressful getting your mortgage sorted? No, it's actually all right. Yes, there's a lot of paperwork. And when you're still writing in these little diaries and things, there's a lot to kind of get your head round. But it was just explained to me so easily and no stress. I just trusted you and thought, well, here we go. Let's see what happens. And
Well,
you
thank you,
just
Beth.
were so good at communication and you just cared, which was the main thing,
I
wasn't
do
it?
care. I
So.
do care.
Yes,
Well,
and I'll be knocking on your door in a year or so. I don't know, maybe we chat about it another time soon. Or what do I do now? This lovely COVID deal runs out. Oh no, that's the next thing.
we'll work it out when we get there. Don't worry.
We will. Oh, but thank you. I want to say thank you for
Thank
having
you,
me
Beth.
on, and thank you, yeah, for giving me that stress-free period of my life where I thought it was going to be terrible. It wasn't. It was actually slightly enjoyable.
Good.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot of things. Yeah.
Well, that's always nice. I mean, hearing that it wasn't stressful is nice, but hearing it was enjoyable, wow. Let's
I
stop running
slightly enjoyed it. I
parties.
thought, oh, I get that. That's what that is. And yeah, okay.
I
And
will
that
do that.
made me get organised, which was good.
Good. Well, Joe, listen, I could talk to you so much, and I'm sure I will, but
Ah, good.
I'm going to stop it here because it's just over an hour, and
Yes.
that's about right for what we need. So,
Wonderful.
so thank you.
No problem. Oh, thank you for having me, Austin.
We'll speak soon, all right?
Thank you.
Bye.
See you now.
If you would like to guest on the podcast, or if you know someone who would, please get in touch via the website www.mortgagesforactors.com or look for us on our social media, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok.